Hello, I am Darnell Ishmael, and I would like to introduce you to the work of Notes from the Village. Trigger statements and questions. What are the first images that come to mind when you hear the words prison, mass incarceration, and American penal system? Have you ever known someone who was in prison? The rapid growth in recent decades of the inmate population in America is unjust. After 15 years in prison with good behavior, prisoners should be able to be granted weekend passes.
What do you think, Darnell?
What do I think in terms of reforming American prisons to reflect the progress we see in other countries?
There you go. Let's start with that.
I'm trying to be hopeful. It won't happen until enough people with a strong moral center really come together here in America and change our minds and our thoughts collectively about what prisons are. Prisons are a reflection of, in America, prison is a reiteration of American slavery. It's slavery by a different name. And even to reform it means that I am reforming and reshaping prison, and it's slavery. You're reforming slavery. I believe prisons in America need to be abolished. I believe that needs to be a long-term plan that happens in my lifetime.
Yeah.
A long-term plan that happens in my lifetime. It needs to be abolished because even reforming it means that we're reforming some system of slavery here in America. Other countries have figured out what to do in terms of rehabilitation and reintegration. And in America, people don't want to admit it, but it really is about money and capitalism. These states and these communities make money on prisons and black bodies and brown bodies. They make money in warehousing bodies. I've been engaged with the incarcerated since 2011 now, and I couldn't imagine myself doing this work. The Lord brought me to it, and now it's been almost 10 years. But I've not seen any substantive change since I started this journey. I've not seen any wholesale overhaul. I've not seen any strong first world type of progress being made in areas of reform of the system, reentry services, rehabilitation. I've not seen it. And I have their testimonies. The Notes from the Village is the website. That's www.nftv.online. We put their stories on this website. We also use YouTube as an outlet. Brothers will call in and they'll tell us what's going on. And we record those phone calls with their permission and their knowledge, and we post it and we share that information. So it's their testimony.
This is a prepaid call from a prisoner at the Michigan Department of Corrections.
Yeah, hello, Darnell.
Hey, I am driving right now, but it is recording. So if you are ready, I will put myself on mute and I will allow you to just record, and then I'll be able to listen to it later on.
Okay, I could do that.
Right.
Yep.
All right, you are now on mute.
Hello, yes. My name is Chad Smith, and I am currently housed at the Gus Harrison Correctional Facility on a probable cause to hold for a possible parole violation. And I have been here for 3 whole years without proper legal action in a timely manner in accordance with my legal due process. The facts of the case are as follows. I was the target of a robbery on my street. I fled from a car of several robbers seeking help from anyone available in my neighborhood area on the scene. The police was called, and I was mistaken for a suspect in accordance to accusations of an alleged crime of a supposed carjacking happening, which later turned out to not be the case. This took place on August 3rd, 2018 in the city of Romulus, Michigan, which ended with myself being shot several times by Romulus police and locking myself in a neighbor's home in hopes of preserving my young black life from the hands of the Romulus police officers who shot me several times with AR-15 assault-style military-grade rifles and several other artilleries, ultimately ended in alleged police standoff, which was just another young black man trying not to be killed by suburban police officers in his new neighborhood. So now I'm sitting in here in prison with 22 charges, including 2 counts of assault with intent to murder police officers, kidnapping, carjacking, home invasion, first degree, 10 counts of felony firearm, and a 4th degree habitual, which can be 25 to life sentence enhancement, and a number of several other outstanding charges. All the cops involved had on body cams, but stated at the preliminary hearing, none of the body cams were on or recording at the time. That seems kind of strange. They are trying to bully me into taking a plea deal due to the fact that I cannot obtain the proper counsel for a high-profile case like this. I would need, in order to properly dispute this matter and see with all of the facts that no harm or any crime was intended on my part to anyone at any time in this matter. And I was a young black victim seeking help and instead almost losing my life at the hands of several confused, scared, suburban, trigger-happy cops.
As a credentialed minister, a concerned taxpayer, and a person of color, I am troubled by the effects of mass incarceration on the seemingly seared conscience of America, particularly among people of faith. Does apathy and resignation scar one's spirit? I often wonder, what are the consequences of over-sentencing and wrongful convictions on the prophetic witness of the Christian faith? What is said of ourselves by our collective punishment of others? Do we know? Do we care? The modern-day theologian and much celebrated writer, Walter Brueggemann, warns us that numbness robs us of our capability for humanity. It is clear to me that more people must get involved in helping to heal ourselves and our collective thoughts around judicial punishment and reform our system of community rehabilitation. Trigger statements and questions. The racial disparity within the inmate population in America is unjust. Are you and/or your church currently engaged with prison abolition and justice reform? If so, why or why not? Have you personally ever visited a prison? The American penal system represents 400 plus years of slavery by another name.
Okay, Darnell, go ahead.
I just want to say this. I don't think that there will ever be change in American prison system until there is money on this side of the wall. What do I mean by that? It's not enough in America for us to say, oh, we'll save money if we do this with the prisons. No, Americans want to make money. So when there's opportunities for enterprise of them being, and it just makes monetary sense, I don't know that our moral compass is going to turn, because our moral compass is turned towards capitalism. So
right.
I think I just want to establish that as my own thought process. There's a profession called actuarial science, and they got people who are employed to run the statistics and find out how much are these bodies costing, how much do we make if we let this one go, how much do we make if we retain this percentage of those who would be paroled, etc. And they're making monetary decisions based on that actuarial science. To Amber's point about being rotten to the core, when I was living in San Francisco, there was this restaurant downtown that made the sourdough bread, and they've been making it that way for hundreds of years because they use the mother yeast from way back when, and they save it. You've heard, if you've heard the legend of that. Well, the Quakers started the American prisons here, and they started it with a certain type of moral compass, a certain thing that was baked into it. And that's long been lost. It's not what it was from way back years and years ago. Trigger statements and questions. If you have never known an incarcerated person, what kind of stereotypes do you have in your mind about prisoners and prison life? There is a clear, direct, and undeniable connection between those who were taken from the shores of Dakar, Senegal in 1490 and those who were snatched from the streets of Detroit, Michigan some 400 plus years later. If prison is slavery reformed, how then do we reform prison and it not be a form of slavery? Everybody in prison ain't guilty, and everybody guilty ain't in prison.
Notes from the Village is an organization that filled the void within the prison system in Michigan. There's nobody that's, even if it's something simple, it's basic as passing along information. The information that you were giving us, even on the most basic of levels, tax information about stimulus checks, we weren't getting that. We weren't getting that, not from the state, not from our families, not from lawyers, right? We were getting accurate information, up to date, real-time information from what you were delivering to us at a cost that you were able to cover out of your own pocket.
I want to clarify in all transparency, I'm not a chaplain. I'm a layperson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go in as a chaplain. I'm not connected to them as a chaplain. I'm connected as a layperson to over 250 guys, and it grew from 3. So what am I saying? You don't necessarily, I would, if I was going to become a chaplain, if that was what God would, then I would receive that and I would operate in that space. But any person can do something is what I think I'm saying. So I honor what you're doing, Dane. You're going in there, that makes a difference. And in any kind of way that anyone in this faith space can show up in the life of an imprisoned person or an imprisoned population, even without the 6-figure budget and all the staffing and all the pamphlets and handout, without all of that, you will make a difference in the life of someone. Trigger statements and questions. After 20 years in prison with good behavior, at least 75% of lifers should be able to earn an early parole. What is the adjusted value of a human being before, during, or after incarceration? How could you become more aware of and more sensitive to this population? When it comes to sentencing, do you believe in retribution or rehabilitation? We must be willing to meet the moment. How do you turn a moment into a movement? We got to meet that moment, and we can't miss it. I think we missed the moment at the beginning of COVID, and we were not able to capture momentum. Certain things in life take momentum. It's not going to happen through muscularized power. It's going to have to be a momentum that happens. And if we meet the moment and don't miss it, the winds of change will blow for us and we'll capture that momentum. And we will have turned that moment into a movement and things will change, hopefully in our lifetime.
Yeah.
But if not in mine, definitely in the generation behind me. Thank you for watching this video presentation.